So we have some music being provided today. Good morning, friends. Well, today is the day my compost pile somewhere over there is ready to sift and add to my garden beds, and I'm really excited to finally be able to go through that process, and I'll of course bring you along for all of that. It's basically the last week of March, and it's supposed to be in the high 80s and low 90s today and tomorrow, so I'm out here a little bit early to get this done before it gets really warm out here. So let's get digging, quite literally. So if you're new to my channel, I have this 3-bin compost system that my husband and I built over a number of months this last fall. I'm able to have 2 piles going at once and then an empty bed to be able to flip back and forth to. So currently this is my working pile, and I compost my cuttings from my garden and kitchen scraps and paper and grass clippings. I just flipped this 2 days ago. This is in the hot zone, which means it's really working to break down and decompose the organic matter in there. It's got a ways to go. It just started probably 3 weeks ago, but today we're going to be working on this finished pile. It was up to this front board here, but it's kind of sunk down and continued to slowly decompose. And I know it's done from the texture and the way it looks. I can't make out any materials anymore, and when I put my thermometer in, it's in the cold zone, so there's not much more for it to decompose. So now I'm ready to sift this at my handy dandy sifting station. Basically what it is a screen, kind of 1/2 inch at the widest, but this is repurposed from some other thing. It was a trailer hitch or some sort of thing. It's a test of my back-end skills. And as I'm going through, if I'm finding any big unbroken down pieces, I'm just automatically putting them in the other bin because I don't want to have to sift out any more than I have to. This top layer is going to be kind of dry. And now I'm just going to slowly add it to my screen and let the smaller pieces fall down into the wheelbarrow. This isn't totally necessary if you compost. It's just an extra step I like to take because it gives me a more pure final product. To think that this was paper and banana peels and ash and leaves and broccoli leaves, cauliflower leaves, you name it. And now it's just broken down organic matter. Kind of cool. Back in the working pile. So I'm finding I made the mistake of adding some grass clippings a little late in the process, so they're not quite as broken down as I would like, but just means a little bit more sifting on this batch. The thing I love about composting is A, I can't buy any better compost than I can make myself, and B, this is all free stuff. It's things that would otherwise be thrown away. It's a win-win. Yes, it's a little bit of work, but it's also a good workout, so win-win-win. If you're curious about the actual composting process and what I add and how I add it and how much water I give it, I have a playlist I'll link up above, and you can check out how I approach composting. It'll be different for everyone, but this is a system that works really well for me in our very dry, very hot climate in southern Arizona. This little eggshell reminds me, I was just kind of crunching up my eggshells, and I realized that they take forever to break down, and I noticed that they kind of migrate somehow up in my soil. What I've started doing, which is a little more time consuming but I think worth it, I'll grind them up in a coffee grinder that I have dedicated just for things like herbs and other things not coffee related, and then I sprinkle them in my compost. It's really great for the soil, but it takes forever to break down, so the more powdery you can get it, the better. think I have a full wheelbarrow here. Look at that yummy, yummy compost. Of course, not going to be perfect, but I can guarantee you this is better than anything I can buy. I know what's in it. I know how long it's been breaking down. You can't tell already I'm a fan of making your own compost. And this is how much we took out. I'd say maybe 1/5 or 1/6 of it. Not a lot. So that's going to be a good amount of compost. I'm really happy with that result. So I decided to put this first batch in this bed here because I'm getting ready to plant out some seeds and some seedlings. And this is probably the most empty bed I have right now. I've got this Bibb lettuce and this arugula plant going to seed, and I just went through and harvested more carrots, so I don't think it's going to be a problem to add a good healthy layer of compost to this bed. And look at this. Somebody tell me, where did this tomato plant come from? Who did this? I swear, you plant them where you want them, and sometimes they don't grow, and then other times they just show up where you least expect them. So I'm obviously going to let him grow. I have no idea how it got here or what variety it is. Gardening's funny that way. This is going to kind of act as a nice amendment slash mulch slash bringing up my soil level and replenishing my bed. It's going to be really good for this bed. Weeds. Well, it's getting warm and I'm pooped. I think that's good enough for today. I'll probably be doing the same thing for the rest of the week because I've got to get a few more things out in the garden before it's too late. It's definitely high time in zone 9A where I'm at to be planting out our spring seeds. So that's priority number 1 for me this week. Never a dull moment. Thanks for joining me today. All right, well, we did it. This bin is completely empty and all of the sifted soil is added to my garden beds. And I'm really glad I went through this whole process because this is actually the first time I went through a completely full finished bin. If you remember, it was just about up to the top of my front board. I wasn't really sure how much compost I would actually get from one bin. So the grand total was 6 wheelbarrows full, and I actually have my last batch here. I haven't put it out anywhere yet, but that was the last wheelbarrow. This wheelbarrow will hold approximately 3 cubic feet. So if you multiply 6 by 3 cubic feet, I got a total of 18 cubic feet of compost for free. So I'm really, really happy with that. Plus, I got about a wheelbarrow full of the unfinished material that I went ahead and added to my working pile. This is about halfway, I'd say. It's still going strong. I'm going to be flipping this later tonight when it cools down. So that's not wasted at all. It's just going to continue to break down, and I'll be able to use that when this pile is finished. So thanks for joining me on my little compost sifting adventure. It was really fun for me. I hope you enjoyed it. And I did want to mention that you may not have a 3-bin cinder block built-in system like this. I didn't either for a long time. This was my first step in composting. I bought this on Amazon for probably want to say $75. I don't think I'd actually recommend that type of a composter. I would actually recommend one that you can turn manually like every day or a couple days, just because that's the whole point of compost, is that movement and the process of everything kind of mixing together and creating a really rich compost. So you can start really small, and if you're like me, you'll get kind of obsessed with it and then have this big project for your husband to do for you. So anyway, start small, start somewhere, go from there. So thanks again for joining me. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Feel free to like and subscribe and all those YouTube things. It really does help my little baby channel, and I'll see you on the next one.